Hi, everyone. I hope you guys are having an incredible day. Welcome back. This is day 5 of our 30-day emotional mastery, 30 days to our emotional mastery. Tonight, I want to talk about a super important element when we are working with our emotional mastery, and that is to learn how to transmute emotions. Now, the past couple weeks and the past couple days, actually, it's only been 1 week since we've been doing this. So in this past week, we've reviewed different aspects of the work that we are doing. And one of the things that we focused on was identifying the emotions, understanding where they're stored in the body, and then kind of looking a little bit deeper into the aspects of the multidimensional body and how that information is stored within the body. Now, one of the presentations that I did for you earlier is still not accessible to the public on YouTube, but it will be soon. So please be patient, and I appreciate your patience with that one. But it should be there hopefully by this weekend. If not, I'll have to re-edit and re-upload that one. So for today, it will be great to have that as a reference in the future as we move forward, because this will be a very deep practice for you that will help you understand how to transmute the emotions and go in deeper to that. So today, we're going to be working with transmuting heavy emotions, because really what it means to have emotional mastery means to have clarity on the ability to choose between love and fear. This is basically what it comes down to. Choosing those frequencies, choosing those emotions will also allow us to choose the intention behind what we're co-creating. And also being mindful of the kind of emotions that we're having in our physical body at all times allow us to maintain health, vitality, clarity, helps us to become clear about what we're doing and intending to do from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. And even in dream time, when we're sleeping, being aware of the kind of dreams that we're having, the emotional states of the dreams that we're having, because a lot of releasing is occurring during their dream time. Everything that we haven't processed emotionally throughout the day, we're processing throughout the night. And all the emotions that you feel throughout your day are also inputting into the kind of dreams and the navigations, travels, astral projections, lucid dreams that you might be having. Whether you remember your dreams or not, are going to be a journey that is also input by any kind of unresolved emotions that we haven't had throughout the day. Okay, so this is important because remember that our emotions are energy in motion. They are creating and inputting into this hologram, which we call our everyday life experiences. And anytime that we are co-creating unconsciously, it's actually called counter-creation, because we are not moving, we are not creating with our entire organisms. The mechanism of creation occurs when we are congruent with our mind, body, and also soul, which is perhaps a higher purpose. So in that being said, how we can become congruent is by becoming aware of the emotional charge that we're maintaining in the physical body. If we are having a lot of heavy emotions and we are in constant state of survival and stress, then this will set the foundation for the kind of experiences that we are in resonance to. So in order to change our life from constant suffering and repeating some of these repetitive patterns that are counter-creative in our lives, we need to change the emotional input that we're putting into the system. And so that requires mindfulness and awareness every moment of your day. And we had that practice a couple of days ago. And we were kind of observing the kind of emotions that we've had over the past 24 hours, over the past week. And we kind of began to notice some patterns in our emotions. We started to see some emotions that started to really come up for us. And we did some work with that by changing and shifting that. And so we learned a little bit about transmuting emotions. We utilized a couple techniques. We utilized color, and we utilized frequency, we utilized emotions, and we utilized changing the perspectives in scenarios to broaden the way that we experience, okay? And all of the change of perceptions in any experience, when we change the perception about a memory, we are writing the DNA and the impression in the holographic recording system. We're also changing timelines that are created from those experiences. And we are releasing stagnant life force that's created in those traumatic experiences. So the shift in perception is actually one of the most powerful things that we experience in order to transmute heavy emotions. Now, we can create the scenarios and revisit them and remote view them and begin to look at the different players in those scenarios to have a clear idea and understanding that as we begin to look at the different perspectives, our perspective, the other person's perspective, and the rest of everyone else that played a role in that scenario, in that memory, we begin to see that we can broaden our perspective and that the way that we feel in that moment isn't the ultimate truth. It's one truth, one perspective of many perspectives in these scenarios, even when there's something extremely traumatic. For example, sexual abuse or any kind of abuse or physical abuse, because we begin to understand that everything is a result of cause and effect. Even entering into the agreement to have these experiences in the first place are cause and effect by all the emotions that we've had previous to that, the choices in our life that we've made leading up to those experiences. So in order to change and shift the emotional input that's going into the creation of that experience, we have to be able to understand and become accountable for how we ended up in this experience. Likewise, what is very healing for us is to look at the other people that are involved in these experiences and observe them. What choices did they make leading up to that experience, even to cause us suffering or harm? Because we will notice, and this sometimes is very difficult for us to accept when we see this in meditation and healing, that actually what brought these two people together to experience something perhaps quite traumatic is a very similar resonance. And the child, for example, that has no ability to control oftentimes how they end up in certain circumstances, these agreements are made through resonance as they come into the bloodline of the family or in resonance to the perpetrator that caused the harm to the child. And this can feel very controversial, but when you begin to understand how the laws of mechanics and attraction function, you begin to understand that both participants in these traumatic experiences have agreed to experience these traumas together, both the perpetrator and the person that is the victim or the receiver of this trauma, okay? And so how we can avoid coming into these experiences again and again in our life is by completely changing our resonance to meet these same perpetrators, which we call perpetrators, but these others are a result of the same cause and effect. In the example of abuse, for example, the person causing the abuse is having history of abuse in their childhood and then in their family, down their lineage, and it goes all the way down. And usually when you trace back that family lineage, you will see a lot of collective trauma, whether it's a war, whether it's military, experience in the family, whether it's some kind of collective trauma that they've experienced as a result of suppression of culture, religion, society. Any kind of these kinds of suppressions and controls usually result in creating programming that creates very traumatic desires and expressions outside of something that is compassionate to themselves and another. This is the result of major fragmentation. So the child that is born into these families or groups of families that receives a lot of this trauma, that soul came in at a higher octave, always. The next generation is always at a higher octave vibrational frequency, encoded with unique information that they received within the womb in order to be able to shift these kinds of experiences, these traumatic events. And you might think that the child doesn't possess any kind of tools to be able to shift the experience at that moment, but the child actually is designed to experience that, because they have many simultaneous lifetimes in which they have experienced similar experiences oftentimes that allow them to, when they mature later on, they have all the equipment in the subconscious mind and in their history to be able to end these programs within them. Not all children grow up to end these programs. Most of the time, they continue to perpetrate the trauma over and over again. And of course, this is an unfortunate thing because it ends up being a chain reaction of suffering in our society. We have a choice to change that. Okay, so it's important to understand the progression of these things so that we understand how we can even possibly transmute such heavy negative emotions as a result of trauma. So let's take this example that we were having of the child and an abusive parent, for example. Okay, so as the child begins to revisit the experience, the child is flooded with heavy, heavy emotions. Number one, of confusion, because inherently the child is quite connected to its source as a child. And the energy centers, the chakra systems of the child are open. They're fluid, they're expansive. And it isn't until a traumatic situation occurs that it begins to affect the multidimensional body of the child through programming. Remember that the child is using all of the tools and perceptions that it created inside of the womb already. So in the womb, if it felt the experience of being unwanted, for example, it's carrying on that perception into these events that cause trauma. So there are several events and emotional programs that have to change and shift in order to provide this child healing in that moment. And how we can do that is by revisiting these memories and tuning in to the emotional charge that was embedded into the nervous system, into the muscles, and into the multidimensional body of the body, into the emotional programs that we hold in the body. So how we can begin to change that emotion once you identify it, because remember that it's stored within the body. We have to clear these emotions. And we repeat the emotions. Most of the trauma that we received is from the womb until the age of 7. That's when all of our emotional programs were embedded into our system. And then from the age of 7 to about 15, we go through what is called puberty, and then our sexual energies come online, our creative life force centers and systems the mechanisms come into play, and it can magnify the emotional traumas that have occurred at an early age. And it oftentimes this age range, children will suppress these emotions very deeply because the experiences were too traumatic to even create accessible memories. It doesn't mean that we cannot heal when you don't remember your memories. All you have to do is recognize the emotion that you most felt as a child. Okay, and that will be very easy for you to remember because you'll notice that this is an emotion that you're constantly feeling even in your present day life. Okay, so these are fantastic and very powerful ways to identify what emotions we need to transmute to begin with. So once we identify these emotions, we find where in the body we feel them, and how we eliminate them from the body is a process that is very interesting, okay? We need to deprogram the entire multidimensional body not to come into survival when it feels these emotions. Right now, these emotions that are trapped because the organism didn't know how to navigate what was happening to them. So we have to provide the information for the organism in order for it to understand how to process that emotion. First is to feel the emotion. Second, to observe what that emotion does inside the body when we feel it. And third, to be able to receive non-judgmentally all the information and data that those emotions provide us. Okay, that's super, super important because in those emotions, we begin to understand many things. We understand and we learn about the spectrum of frequencies and emotions because as you feel the emotion in your body, you begin to understand what you do need, what you don't need to feel that emotion. So you're learning the spectrum of emotions connected to this one emotion. You're also learning the opposite of that emotion. So for example, if the emotion is helplessness, you begin to feel that helplessness and you're like, okay, if I had some support or someone listened to me or heard me, I wouldn't feel so helpless in that moment. So immediately those 3 points that you just named out are helping you understand what you require in order to never feel this feeling of overwhelm. Okay, so this is a process of observation that allows us to really have a deep understanding of ourselves and emotions, because again, those are the most important creative energies of the universe. Every single one of those emotions that you're identifying in this process are energy that you input into the system for creation. And when we do it unconsciously, this is how we end up with counter creation. So let's go back to feeling the emotion in the physical body. Okay, let's go back to our example of helplessness. If we feel this feeling of helplessness, what would be the opposite of helplessness? This is the question we have to ask ourselves. What is the direct opposite? And there is a very interesting chart. I kind of wish I could find it right now. And I want to share it with you because if you study this chart and you kind of begin to utilize it in your life when you're just learning about yourself, this is one that we're going to do in the next couple of days, is feeling every single emotion and noticing what it does specifically for us. Okay. Oh, I wish I could find it. I don't have it here in this immediate computer. It's in another hard drive. So let me see if I can find it so I can show you. But this spectrum would really help you understand because, let me see, hold on a moment, everyone. Can't find it. Okay, that's fine. So let's see. Well, I guess we can use this one. This isn't. Okay. So let me open this, and I'm going to share my screen. And I'm just going to show you this really briefly. Okay, so if you can see this spectrum here, this isn't my favorite one, but it's one that can help us understand. Okay, so for example, if you're feeling certain emotions, let's say anger, these are some of we talked about primary, secondary, tertiary emotions. So this is a great example of that. The primary emotion would be anger. The secondary emotion, let's say, is jealous, okay? And then the tertiary emotion would be, for example, envious in this case, okay? So as you see, there's a progression to these emotions. There are layers to these emotions. We talked about that, I think, in day 2, where we took a look at the layers of emotions. So the reason why this is important is because in order to see the direct opposite of that, for example, the opposite of anger would be joy in this case. Okay, and in this case, in order to feel this joy, we would have to feel happy, content, for example, would be the other side of that spectrum, and content, and tranquil or serene or satisfied. I would say that would be a opposite from jealous, envious, to feel content and to feel satisfied. Okay, so this is an example. It's not my favorite example, but what you will see at the end of this, is that all of this spectrum of emotions, beginning from fear all the way around to love, are all the progressions. And then these are the root emotions, love and fear. Those are the root. From there stem all of these emotions that you see here in this spectrum. We are choosing between love and fear. How are we going to know what those are? Is by becoming very familiar with every single one of these emotions in the spectrum, this entire wheel, through our self-awareness, and taking the time to feel them in the emotion, observe them in the body to see what they do in our body when we feel them. What does sadness do for you? It's not going to be the same for everyone, because how we reached and experienced sadness in our life could be different. For example, if we received sadness as a result of our father, then we're going to experience a lot of imbalance in the right side of our body, and our perception of the masculine or taking action and movement in our life will be affected. If we receive sadness from the mother, we're going to have a lot of stagnation and problems on the physical problems on the left side of the body, and all of our perceptions around the divine feminine and creation, for example, will be stagnated. Intuition will be stagnant. Okay, so that's just an example. But every single one of these emotions provide us a profound understanding into what we are and what we're feeling. Okay, so in this case, how do we transmute the emotion is we begin to look at the other side of that. So again, how do we transmute fear, helplessness, jealousy into love? How do we do that? Jealousy, for example, is the feeling that someone else has something that we don't. And by comparison, we feel that we are somehow incapable, not worthy, or incapable of achieving this state of being. And so there's a feeling of lack. The root of that is lack. This lack is embedded and programmed in the body since childhood. So we have to go back to that child and show the child that actually they don't lack. We have to show them that they have all the tools that they require, and that those experiences that triggered lack in them don't define who they are as a person, as an individual, as a soul. So these change and shifts in perceptions are how we begin to transmute emotions in the deepest way. This is the deepest way to do it, because these are very, very long-lasting deprogramming and reprogramming yourself. When you go through this process, it's a profound change. The next time that you're triggered by jealousy again, your brain already went through the process of understanding how it reaches jealousy and what it needs in order to not feel jealous. And that now becomes new neural pathways in the brain that you now have access to. The problem is in trauma that from birth until now, we haven't had an instruction manual as to what to do with experiences of these unknown circumstances that caused the trauma, that shocked us, that we didn't know how to handle. Now you create this instruction manual for yourself as a human through your human experiences. This is the beauty of life. We're here to experience and learn through experience. That's what that means. If you're having these experiences and not actually learning from them, what they mean, how they affect you, why they affect you, and how to change it, what are you learning from this life? This is a profound way to shift your frequency, your vibration, and to grow your light. Because when you go through this process of learning for yourself, you can then begin to learn and acknowledge it in others. And this is where we start tuning into one of the most powerful things to feel, which is compassion. Okay? And people that have a lot of trauma sometimes have a difficult time feeling compassion for themselves because they've never experienced it in their life. They lived in very traumatic families where parents and models, role models, never embodied love or compassion in order to support and create an environment of nourishment and safety. Okay, so when we don't have that nourishment and that protection and safety, nourishment from the mother, safety from the father, there is a feeling of imbalance and disconnect. Okay, so the child doesn't have the tools to provide themselves with that nourishment and protection. So in this case, compassion is the connection. The next step to that is unity. We can enter unity consciousness once we have the ability of feeling compassion for ourselves and others. Okay, and to feel compassion would mean that we look at ourselves and all of these traumatic experiences that happen to us in our life, and we immediately begin to choose in that moment to honor this organism and its learning process so that it no longer has to suffer as a result of emotional imbalances, emotional heavy emotions. Okay, when you take the time to observe heavy emotions in your body, you notice that they cause so much chaos, right? We talked about this. It runs these very heavy chemicals in the body that cause inflammation, stress. It suppresses the immune system. So is that something loving to do for your organism? Okay, so is it destructive? Is it creative or counter-creative? Once again, we're going back to the fundamental laws of manifestation. And so our physical body, if you see your body as this very divine, sacred vessel of infinite consciousness, to be able to be compassionate to the body so that it doesn't feel heavy, negative emotions all the time. Instead, it feels high vibration emotions. We begin to heal. Mind, body, soul. And there begins to have, from all of this disassociation, disconnect, separateness from source, we begin to integrate and become whole again. So this is the process to wholeness. It's through the emotions. This is how important emotions are in the body. So as we begin to identify and reintegrate from these fragmentations through changing of our perception, through creating new neural pathways, by providing support for ourselves as a human, we discover compassion and love for ourselves. Okay, so let's go now to the practical aspects. Okay, let's go to the practical aspects and the tools of how to transmute heavy emotions in the body. Number one, removing emotions from the body. Okay, so now that we've done all that heavy internal work, let's go to the everyday tools that we can utilize to begin to shift heavy emotions. Okay, so let's say that throughout the day we have a lot of heavy emotions in the body. Anger, something triggers us, we end up feeling a lot of anger. Okay, so first we become aware that the anger is somewhere in the body, wherever it is. We're going to focus on that part of the body. You're going to sit with that for a moment, and you're going to observe it as if you're watching from the outside into your body to see what it's doing. Is it affecting more than just one area? Okay. And a lot of times there will be this empty blank space, which is a fight or flight mechanism that happens as soon as you feel the trigger, because you've never actually sat with the emotion. Once you sit with the emotion, it'll be easier for you to be able to make a choice, to take a pause and make a choice. If you don't sit with the emotion, more than likely you're going to go into survival and either want to block it out or redirect your attention to something that takes you away from feeling that emotion. This is the worst thing that we can do, because what happens again, this is energy. It doesn't go anywhere because you suppressed it, ignored it, neglected it. It now begins to stagnate. You already have created a ball of energy that is blocking life force through your body. Just because you redirected your attention to something else doesn't make this go away. In fact, it embeds deeper into the system, into the energetic system, into the nervous system, and it usually goes to the back of the spine. Okay, and it stores back there in the chakra systems in the back of the spine, the vortices that connect to the spine and out of the body. Okay, because we usually don't pay attention to the back of the body. All of the dormant things that are unconscious end up storing back there. Okay, so this is the thing where we have to really pay attention. So once you acknowledge that emotion, you feel the emotion, and now you're going to begin to work with it. Today, we're going to practice eliminating that emotion out of the body. So we're going to literally feel that emotion and imagine that it's a piece of, for some reason, the visual of it's like a heavy, like a rag or like a gel type of substance is what it looks like in most bodies. It's like a heavy gel substance that we're going to eliminate out of the body. And you're going to create a vortex of violet light underneath your body. And you're going to allow that vortex to come in and pull it out. Okay. Now, I had a question. Actually, I think it was Alexander that asked that question. He was asking about whether it makes a difference if we eliminate emotions from the bottom or from the top of the body. Usually the most densest emotions, we have the ability of eliminating through the bottom because they're so heavy and dense. We can send them to the center of the earth. The earth functions like a recycling mechanism that transmutes death into life. So these dense, heavy emotions can be put into the center of the earth and they are transmuted with our intention. Okay. The center of the earth has a sun, has a core, has a it's a portal as well, and it connects to source directly. Okay, so what we're doing here, and this is a very conscious thing that we have to become aware of. There is no right or wrong. All that we do is we introduce the darkness to the light, and this is how we transmute things in our body. So we transmute this heavy emotion into light. This is what we're doing. We transmute it from fear into love. And we're going to be doing this in many different ways in our life, through the emotions, through our actions, through our intentions, through our exchanges. This is the process of the creative human. The creative human understands, the alchemist learns how to move from fear to love. That's actually the gold, because it's the creative life force. Okay? So as we begin to eliminate from the body, immediately you're going to notice that as you learn to do that, you're going to feel a lighter feeling in the body. And you're going to begin to notice that all of the survival mechanisms that went into play in the body are going to start to calm down. So pains are going to go away, physical pains, physical ailments, even illnesses, sometimes flus. I can't tell you how many times I have cured myself from a flu or a cold by doing this practice. Because what I learned through understanding the multidimensional body is that stagnant emotions become hotbeds for parasites. Okay? Heavy emotions are hotbeds for parasites. So we create an environment of fear. All kinds of sickness, pains, and imbalances can exist in the body. So as we eliminate those emotions out of the body, you are creating an environment of well-being for yourself. And because you are a fractal of infinite consciousness, you're also doing it for the collective. Why do you think we have so much war, so much imbalanced things in our world today? Because most of us have the same internal wars and imbalances in our physical bodies. We don't have any mastery over ourselves and awareness of these different systems. And oftentimes we become parasites to ourselves. Our body wants to eat itself. We have cancer. We have these immune system, autoimmune diseases. All of these imbalances in the physical body are because we told the cells of the body that they don't deserve to exist, or they're not good enough, or they're not good, or they're bad, or we hate, or we are angry. Okay, the quickest way to get sick is to feel these negative emotions in the body. Okay, how to create an incredible immune system? We immediately begin to heal by balancing the emotions. This is why I wanted to do this time. Okay. All right. So as we move it down through the root, not the root, you're going to remove it into the center of the earth through the lower bodies. Now, why we don't normally move it through the top of the bodies? Because these dense, heavy emotions, they're very dense, and the higher levels of the body, as you move them, you have two vortices in the body. Okay, you have the way that the geometric structure of the body functions is that it's spinning really, really fast. Denser emotions are closer to earth. They are meant to be transmuted through the lower realms. If you pull it through the body, oftentimes what will happen is that because we don't really have complete mastery over this work, a lot of times these emotions will get stuck in these upper parts, or they'll break apart, they'll fall apart energetically and leave behind traces in the body. Okay, so what we use the higher realm for is for entities, attachments, dissolving of interdimensional implants in the body, physical and interdimensional implants. And higher thought forms that we want to eliminate usually can be eliminated. You can also eliminate illness through the higher realms, because these are usually non-physical things that we are tuning into, okay? And they're very easy to kind of dissolve from the higher realms. You will have much easy ability to do that, okay? So, but there's no right or wrong. Again, I want you to tune into your body and see what really works for you best, okay? And it's just the way frequency is distributed in the body, okay? So let's go to the next. After learning how to eliminate that emotion from the body, another way to transmute is to transmute fear into love. Now, in order to do this, because this is the ultimate best way to transmute long-term, we talked about the process of doing that a minute ago, but in order to do that, we also need to understand what love is. Now, this is the catch, because surprisingly, many of us have never really felt real love. And we are not talking about romantic love, Disney love, Hollywood love. We are talking about unconditional love, okay? And this love, which is seeing ourselves as everything, means that we enter a state of non-judgment. We have to embody that, recognize that, feel that, and become very familiar with what that feels like in our physical body. And how we will find love, some people will follow sex, for some people, love is sex, for example, intimacy, unity of the physical body. But when you follow sex, the purpose why people want the sex is because the intimacy, the connection, and the pleasure. And if you go down deeper, it's the bliss, the orgasmic state of bliss, okay? Ultimate joy, ultimate happiness, love. Now, some people will enter love, they will understand love through the emotion of feeling safe, for example, okay? So if you trace back that process, that emotional process, it's security, safety, connection, unity. Okay, but at the same time, it all goes back to bliss, this ultimate unity and seeing yourself as anything. It's ultimate safety, connection to everything, unconditional love. So we have to educate ourselves however we are going to reach our understanding of unconditional love, because all of you have gone through different life experiences. You need to sit with that and become familiar with it. Okay. Otherwise, it will be extra hard for you to transmute the emotion on the go throughout your day. This is all part of the work that it takes to do the inner work that we require for healing. Okay. So we're going to do the exercise on feeling love tomorrow, but today we're going to practice on transmuting these emotions. So let's get started. We're going to start by inhaling deeply. And we're just going to relax our body. Okay, we're just going to relax the body. And with every breath we take, we're going to begin to observe the emotion that we're feeling in the body right now. Okay, so go ahead and connect with your body, whether it's a good emotion or a bad emotion, or we shouldn't say good or bad, whether it's a heavy emotion or a light emotion. Go ahead and identify the emotion that you're feeling in your body right now. Breathing deeply. Okay. And we're just going to gently observe where this emotion is in the body. And right now, whatever the emotion is that you're feeling, you're going to take yourself from that emotion into a state of neutrality. Okay, so go ahead and let's neutralize the body by, as we identify the emotion, you're going to be present with the emotion that's in the body. You're going to observe that emotion in your body. You're going to stay very still, very, very still. None of your body will move. And this will usually help us target and narrow into the emotion. You're going to feel that emotion in your body physically, emotionally, perhaps visually if you're visual. And you're going to begin to kind of almost look from the outside at yourself experiencing this emotion. And you're looking both internally, you're feeling yourself experiencing the emotion, and you're also watching yourself from outside feel that emotion. Notice what happens. Notice your body language. Notice and feel the tension in the body. If there is tension, notice the parts of the body that feel this emotion strongly. And if you have any kind of physical pain in your body, go ahead and connect to that pain and identify the emotion inside the pain. Okay, you're going to work on that. This is also how you can alleviate pain from your body. So go ahead, if you have pain, not everybody has pain, but if you do have pain, focus on the pain and focus on the emotion inside of that pain. You will be very surprised what you find there. Again, sit with that emotion. And then I want you to, as you observe this emotion, you're going to allow yourself and ask yourself, do you need to feel this emotion at this time? What is it doing it for you? What is it protecting you from? Who, what is it protecting you from? Is it protecting you from anything? Sometimes even joy can be a coping mechanism. So you're just checking in neutrally, non-judgmentally, noticing what is this emotion for? Why is it in the body? Whether it's high or low. Okay, how does this emotion serve you now and in your everyday life? You're going to notice that as you answer that question, parts of your body will begin to readjust from a state of survival or from a state of tension into a more lucid, calm, flowy state. And just continue kind of scanning your body from any other areas of your body that might be hiding that same emotion. Maybe in your muscles, maybe there's tension in other parts of your body that you didn't recognize previously. And just ask the emotion again, how is that serving us? How is that emotion serving us? What is it doing for you? Is it protecting something? Are we controlling? Do we believe that we are controlling something with this emotion, maybe ourselves or others? Just observe. And now I wanted you to ask yourself, what is it that you need in order to not feel that emotion? What would be a higher octave of this emotion? And just listen for that answer. Your body will tell you, your intuition will tell you, your higher self will tell you. Breathing deeply. And immediately you will begin to notice an alleviation. The only reason why you won't feel an alleviation, either in the tension of your body or physically, emotionally, or in the nervous system through pain, is because you doubt the process. You doubt that it's true, that if you shift your emotions, you're shifting pain or discomfort in the body. So this is where I really want you to learn through your experience by beginning to remove this emotion out of the body. Now, this process we already are moving that emotion out through this process. So you already feel the emotion has lessened in the body. Now we're going to go into this manual active ability of transmuting the emotion out of the body. So just imagine that whatever this emotion looks like, you can give it a color, you can give it a shape, you can make it look like an object. Whatever you need to do to help you visualize removing something out of your body, grab all of this emotion and use your intention to direct the cells, that any cell of the body that is containing and trapping this emotion unconsciously, we're going to let it go down into the center of the earth. So underneath you, you have a vortex of violet light that connects into the sun, or the center core of the earth, which is connected to source. You're going to allow yourself to eliminate down out of the body, down out of the body. With every breath you take, this is where breathing is incredibly important. As you inhale, exhale, release. Release out of the body. Release out of the body. Release. Releasing out. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Releasing out of the body. Down to the center of the earth, you're going to begin to feel your body coming into a state of neutrality. Calm, peace. Okay, this is how you embody peace. And you begin to notice, oh, this emotion is temporary. It doesn't have to be trapped in the body. We don't have to run away from it. We don't have to ignore it. It's just information. Do you see how powerful this process is? Okay, so this is a beautiful way to begin to understand what it means to be free and expansive. Okay, so as you eliminate that out of the body, you begin to just breathe deeply into the body, and immediately you will have shifted your frequency, and you're going to begin to feel more joy, more harmony, more calmness. Okay, so you just taught yourself how to transmute that emotion, and there's now room for higher octaves of this emotion. So I want you to fill your body with love, with compassion, with whatever you need. You're going to fill up your body with this new emotion. And if you're still experiencing any kind of pains or discomforts in the body, I want you to target that area with powerful unconditional love. Whatever color that might be to you, you're going to bring it from source into that part of the body, and you're going to saturate it. You're going to visualize yourself saturating that part of the body with unconditional love. Just the mechanism of you holding that aspect of yourself into your body will immediately begin to help regenerate the layers of your body, the cells, okay, the frequency, the environment into a state of harmony, internally and externally, okay? So just visualize charging the body with this unconditional love, breathing deeply. You are one with the universe. Everyone in the universe loves me, and I love everything in the universe. Okay? Just as you say those words, you begin to feel and recognize that you are not alone, that you are one with the universe. And I love myself. Feel that love towards yourself. I love myself. I accept myself. I am safe. Okay, you are teaching yourself what it means to be loved. So allow yourself to absorb all of those things that you require at this time and embed them into the spine, in the back of the body, waking up the entire organism so that it recognizes itself as love. Okay, so this is how you begin to come into bliss. Okay, this is how you begin to enter this orgasmic state in which you are connected to yourself, your body. You're aware of yourself in all of its glory and for all of its expression, highs and lows, and you are able to see yourself as one with all. This is that orgasm. This is this universal connection, unity consciousness. We can only reach that through the transmutation and understanding of our shadows that we try to be in survival of, fearful of, okay? So breathing deeply as you begin to allow yourself to anchor yourself into the center of the earth. Okay, becoming aware of your body, creating your sphere around your body. You're going to activate your crown chakra because this is the center of manifestation. So go ahead and activate your crown, your 7th and 8th chakra. And you're going to fill it in with your highest expression frequency. What color is that? Fill it in. Activate that crown into all areas of your life. Okay. I want you to see your karma room, the room with all of our contractual experiential agreements. Go ahead and visualize dissolving those contracts in that room. You're going to shine your crown. And this is a perfect exercise for you to see, where do you send those contracts? Do you send them down to the center of the earth, or do you send them up to source? Go ahead and see, what do you do? What feels best for you? Shine your crown, dissolve those contracts, and notice which way they go. And this is something that I'd love for you to share in the chat later after the meditation, so that we can all see how we all perceive things. You intuitively know. I don't even have to say this. I'm just reminding you all of these tools that you already know. So clear that karma room completely. And you're going to fill that room with your crown color. Fill it in as if you're painting the walls with your highest vibrational frequency, replacing the program of cyclical, mechanical, unconscious behavior, cyclical traumas into creation state of your highest self as your highest soul in this incarnation. Okay, that's what we're doing here. Okay, you're shifting your entire frequency at this time. So as you take a nice deep breath, okay, we're going to begin to fill the entire body with love, again, into the organs, into the chakra system, saturate the root, saturate the sacral, the solar, clearing it, bringing it back into a balanced state. The heart, expanding the heart, the throat, expanding the throat. The third eye, expanding the third eye. Okay, so all these practices, we should be able to do it in our waking state with our open eyes and with our closed eyes. You're going to go up to the 8th. You're going to activate the 9th now. Activate the 10th. Activate the 11th. Notice how you can breathe better now. Activate the 12th. And activate the 13th. Excellent. You did incredible work. As you see your chakras all the way activated to the 13th chakra and your entire body in perfect alignment, I want you to open your eyes and come back into the room and just notice how you feel. Okay, notice how the body feels. You have transmuted a low emotion, a stagnant emotion, into a high emotion. Okay, high, and you've opened the channels of your body in order to receive more source light. So this was a wonderful learning experience for you to understand how you can remove clear emotions from your physical body. If you guys have any questions, please put them down in the chat. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you. Wow, thank you so much for tuning in. Mama Ren, thank you so much for that super chat. You guys, your donations really help me in this channel, and there's so many projects that I am hoping to realize by the end of this year. So I am very grateful for your donations. It really is a tremendous, tremendous support to me because, you know, it's just me. And also I want to give a very special thank you, and I would like everyone to please give a special thank you to Angie, who has offered to be a moderator for our video. Angie, thank you so much. You're amazing. So please give her a shout out. Thank you for being such an incredible support. Thank you for your loving comments. Let me see if there's any questions that I can help answer here. Kelly and I overreact if someone takes advantage of me. Kelly in LA says, I overreact if someone takes advantage of me. Yeah, so this is a beautiful way to feel the emotion of feeling taken advantage of and go through the process that we discussed today. It is incredibly empowering because here's what happens. We basically become slaves to the fear of being taken advantage. And because it's such a strong thing that we've experienced many times in our life that resulted in trauma, usually at a pretty young age, and maybe even in the womb, actually, our mother or father could have felt that they were being taken advantage of during the gestation process. And so it completely creates a very heavy program and a perception filter that we see the world through. So the moment you sit with that emotion, it's going to be like expansive and very free, liberating experience. I'm attracted to the wrong people because of it. Thank you, Lynn. Yes, this is exactly what happens. Thank you so much, Angie. Love you. Just kick the can in a row that it doesn't get healed. Just pass on down. Facing their fears. That's right. Nothing to find. Humans, we avoid facing our fears, but not here. Our listeners and our followers here doing the work. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dreamweaver, for being here. Amazing. Your comments are great. RR2, have I told you I love you today? Thank you, RR2. We love you too. Dialectal behavior therapy helped me. So did cognitive behavioral therapy. Amazing. Eris, I'm so happy to hear that. Kelly says, I finally let go of one big fear. I chose to let it go permanently. It's daily decision. Yes, it's quantum awareness every moment. Thank you for working so we can do this work personally. It's all about recognition and acceptance and transmutation. Lead, graphite to diamond. That's right. That's right, Lisa. Dreamweaver. Yeah, thank you. All right, guys, thank you so much. You guys, there's so many amazing comments here. Oh my God, Cedric, thank you so much for that super chat. All my love to you. Thank you very much for that. You guys are so amazing. Growth mindset, I start to write down. I started to write down what emotion was heaviest upon waking up and focused just on that to disassemble its origin. Wow, Eris, super, super proud of you. Love that. Yes, having a journal is amazing for this work. I also have tons of journals around me that I keep with all my emotional notes and things that I'm working on. Tesseract, you're so amazing and awesome. Thank you, Tesseract. The right side of my neck is harbinger eating and links to father. Absolutely. That's the right side of the body. Pono says, but yes, don't remove them through the upper chakras. Remove them down through the spinal, through the legs. Awesome, Pono. Yes, that's a really great, I agree with that, but also check and see how you process. Because I will say this, all of us are more recently connected to certain dimensional planes. Depending on what dimensional plane you're coming in from, you're going to be able to process emotions differently. Some of you quicker, some of you, it'll take a different technique. So my interest is to help you activate your DNA so you understand all of the unique superpowers that each one of you has for healing. This is all encoded in our holographic DNA, and all of us brings new messages to humanity on how to heal. Okay, so that's also why I always ask people to check in with themselves. Lisa Davy, sex is not the only way to orgasm. When we embody divine love, everything becomes sacred. Exactly, Lisa. You said it. You said it. Thank you, my love. Is it okay to use this meditation more than once? Please use it as much as you can throughout your day. I will tell you, when I was first going through this, it just became a daily thing. It was so powerful. I began to walk constantly in a state of complete and total awareness. As soon as something triggered me, I would be kind of like an observer of myself. I wasn't just this person experiencing and reacting to things. It's like I would watch and I say, oh, wow, that really triggered this emotion in me. And then I said, why are you feeling this way? Okay, what caused that? And it started to bring me very deep understandings about myself and the other person. And then this is where I started to learn how to love myself, because I started to choose the emotions I was feeling and I was able to remove them. Now, I also will say, this is very interesting. When you watch films, or when you go to, let's say, the movie theater, a lot of TV shows, a lot of music is programmed by their hertz, their vibrational frequency, to trigger certain emotions in you. And it's really powerful. If you go to a movie theater, you will notice that the swelling music at the beginning of films, especially an easy example is the Disney logo, where they show the castle and the stars, or whatever it is, that the castle and whatever, is that music that plays is by frequency designed to emote very strong emotions in children and in adults. So this is where I learned the incredible influence that technology and media has over our emotions. We are programmed to be triggered by colors, like the brands that we buy, the foods that we're eating. The vibrational frequency and sounds around us are designed to trigger specific emotions in us. And most of us go throughout our day without understanding oftentimes why we feel certain ways, when we have been heavily influenced by things around us. And we're completely unconscious of that. Okay, so this is a way to begin to shift, to begin to become aware. And as soon as I felt the emotion, because it was something that was triggered externally, I was easily able to remove it out of my body and come into a state of neutrality. And what happened is that I felt less tired at the end of the night. I was healthier. I wasn't eating things that were bad for me, because a lot of times, because of heavy emotions, we we kind of cope with it by eating sugary things or reaching for stuff that's not good for us. And this is how I would cope. Remember that the biome, and that's another thing we'll talk about later, is also the second brain that really craves sugars and things like that, and really make us make certain decisions. But these things are also rooted in emotions. Okay, so yeah, just to resume that. All right, my love. Geraldine, I can't see war in general, those types of films in movie theaters. Yep. Marilyn, it makes sense. Oh, wow, great. Thank you for the answer. You're welcome. 60 hertz frequencies. That's right, Pono. Okay. Love you guys. I hope you have an incredible night. Thank you so much. And I will see you tomorrow. All my love.